So it's time now for the week that was. Let's take a look at the top stories that made headlines around the globe this week. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja within the week convicted the Director General of the Peter Obi Presidential Campaign Council, Dr. Doyin Okupe, for violating the Money Laundering Act. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission had arraigned Okupe in 2019 on a 59-count charge bordering on alleged money laundering and diversion of funds to the tune of 702 million naira. He was arraigned before Justice Ijoma Ojukwu alongside two companies, Value Trust Investment Limited and Abrahams Telecoms Limited. Okupe was said to have received cash from the office of the former National Security Advisor, Sambo Dasuki, while he was special advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan. All right, Aaron, well, I mean, that was one major news, during the week.
Yeah, it was.
The DG of the campaign for Mr. Peter Obi, it's a tough one for the campaign, it will be. But of course, I think that one of the key things that looked, nice to me was the fact that he didn't wait for people to say, oh, you've been convicted, you need to take the back seat. I think he announced that by himself and says that he wouldn't want his personal issues to affect the Peter Obi Presidential Campaign Council. And I think that was a smart move. If you're found guilty and if you are not going to appeal the verdict, the judgment, then, step aside while somebody else leads, the campaign. And I think that, yes, he's been wounded, as he said, but he said that he will bounce back. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, of course, without a doubt, with time, given time, won't heal and people actually overcome adversities. But in the immediate, how much of a blow would that be to the credibility of the Labour Party?
That's
one,
right.
And also, how would they affect their plans and their workings? Because the elections are just in a few weeks.
That's right.
And having to change the Director General of your campaign council says a lot.
It does.
And the Labour Party will certainly be on overdrive to ensure that they can actually fill in that particular void and ensure that the toxicity of Doyin Okupe right now is completely far away from the candidate of the Labour Party.
That's right.
Yes, talking about Peter Obi.
You can mix the two.
No. Yeah. So if they can successfully do that, navigate these waters, I think the Labour Party will be okay to give Doyin Okupe the opportunity to settle his own internal issues and probably support from afar this time around and not within the circles of the Labour Party. Absolutely. This will certainly be a blow. This will certainly be a setback for the Labour Party, but without a doubt, things like this do happen. And I'm sure they would have prepared for this. I'll be shocked if they didn't prepare for an eventuality like this.
Absolutely. And if you look at the fact that at least one or two campaign rallies have held without Okupe during the week, that shows that, the movement could go on, with or without Okupe. And I think that one key thing that Dr. Okupe himself will need to even, sort forth beyond what has happened, at the courts is the fact that he has issues with the Labour establishment in his home base of Ogun State, if you recall, that he was removed, he was, kicked out of the party because of the allegations that he was not paying his dues. He had not paid for like 6 months or so, which was what the law, the constitution of the party says. And there are issues as to propriety of how money was spent or dispensed for the rally that Labour Party had in Ibadan the other time. So those issues are still pending. Dr. Okupe will need to, I think is in the middle of a big, huge credibility crisis. And he will just have to, fight like a man.
Now, another question a lot of people are asking is the timing of this, but the timing of this whole issue. Because this is not a new issue.
No, this has been on since 2019.
Yes,
this is just the time that the judgment, was delivered.
No, some people will question that.
Why now?
Why now? Why now?
Barely 2 months to
the election.
It
could have happened. It could have happened much more later. It could have happened even before now. But why now? But at the same time, since he's been found in some murky waters, regardless of the timing. Even though the timing might be suspicious, you can still file. If there were trumped up charges, or if there were just new charges that were being thrown, then you might say probably he's been politically victimized. Whereas against that, people will question the timing, but there's nothing anyone can actually do. Because
and another thing that people are questioning is if it has to do with people in the opposition, the judgment tends to move faster, whereas those who are probably in the ruling party, or those who move from the opposition to the ruling party, somehow tend to.
That's right. That's my point. That was the point. Some of the critics of this particular move have actually been pushing forward. That's their argument. That's. This is not a new charge. Why is it coming just on the eve of the election? Of course, metaphorically speaking, not because we know that the election is just by the corner. As we're wrapping up the year 2022, going into 2023, we know as we get into January, it will be serious overdrive for the political machineries in Nigeria, with the hope of trying to nip in the bud, cross the T's, dot the I's in terms of campaign, and ensuring that they actually hold on to their strong basis. This is a huge blow, without a doubt. You cannot take away the fact that Doyin Okupe has always been side by side with Peter Obi for the longest of time, since his move from the PDP down to the Labour Party. So how Peter Obi himself will be able to take this shot, because I'm sure for him to have been with this man for this long, he would have been a confident, he would have been a man that he relied on heavily in terms of his wisdom, his political clout, and in terms of his political experience also. Let's see how Peter Obi will cope. These are the things. It comes with the territory.
Absolutely,
you get to expect this time and time again.
Absolutely.
All right, let's tell you that Dr. Doyin Okupe, meanwhile, avoided spending the night in a correctional center by paying the 13 million naira option of a fine, as was handed down by the judge. Now, moving on, let's say that the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja this week declined an application by the Department of State Services to arrest and detain the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. In declining the motion expose filed by an applicant in the absence of the respondent, the Chief Judge Justice J.T. Shoko said the secret police did not provide any concrete evidence to substantiate its claims that Emefiele was involved in terrorism, financing, and economic crimes. The court said such an application should have been accompanied with a presidential approval because of the grave implications for the Nigerian economy if the CBN governor is arrested and detained. All right, Steve, back to what we were still saying. People are also questioning the timing of this particular move by the DSS. And of course, international bodies have also, have been speaking against this particular move, that this is more of a victimization move as against any kind of move that has gravitas and credibility within it. All right, but it's still speaking on Godwin Emefiele, talking about a coalition of civil society organization has alleged that the purported allegation of terror financing against the central bank governor Godwin Emefiele were all trumped up charges. At a news conference in Abuja, the convener of the coalition, Tochukwu Ohazurike, alleged that the Department of State Services had filed a motion in court accusing the CBN governor of terrorism financing and other crimes it described as economic crimes of national security dimension. The coalition says that it's for the sole purpose of forcefully and wrongfully removing the CBN governor from office.
We intercepted credible intelligence about a plot at certain high places in government to stop the central bank governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, by all means, and his policy to redesign the Naira with its January 31st, 2023 deadline, and also to put a stop to the cash withdrawal limit policy of the bank, scheduled to start on the 9th of January 2023. The plotters admitted that their major challenge was that the president had fully approved the policies, but agreed that the president's approval would not deter them. They also agreed that they would not be able to get the president to bring to effect Section 11, subsection 2, sub F of the Central Bank Establishment Act, which empowers the president to remove the governor of the central bank. They had earlier tried to undermine the president by attempting to amend the CBN Act and the Currency Decimal Act overnight in the House of Representatives, but failed. While we monitored, they began to recruit people to join in their plot. They recruited allies even at the highest level of the security architecture, the legislature, and the executive arm of government of our country.
As political party chairman, we lauded the cash withdrawal policy of the Apex Bank because we believe it will make it difficult for vote buying to occur or for politicians to have access to untraceable cash with which to compromise the various aspects of the election. Nigerians will recall that we had earlier urged the president to do all he can to keep his promise to the world to conduct credible 2023 general elections.
Now, still on that story, the Department of State Services have explained that one of its defined constitutional roles in the investigation of matters of national security dimension, which it claimed to have discharged in the overall interest of Nigerian citizens. In a statement, the DSS stated, and I quote, "While professionally discharging its mandate, the DSS pledges to remain focused and unbiased. It will not by any means succumb to propaganda, intimidation, and desperation of hirelings to undermine it. It will also not give room to the use of falsehood and deceit to misdirect public understanding and perceptions of issues of national importance." End of quote. In the statement signed by the spokesperson, Peter Afunaya, the service warns that those on a wild goose chase to be mindful of their actions and urges the public to disregard them. The DSS says it will not be distracted from carrying out its duties to the nation and the president, and to those who want to undermine the service and its lawful investigation will be dealt with in accordance with the law. All right, Steve. This is a mouthful, and this packs a punch looking at how it is. And some are saying that this is institution, or some institutions fighting back against the CBN governor for his monetary policies and deciding to redesign the Naira, limit cash withdrawals, and the resultant effect from all this probably financial moves in the bid to probably level the playing field come 2023 general elections. And they're saying that several institutions within the government and in the political sphere seem to be fighting back and fighting real hard.
Absolutely. I mean, you could see that Godwin Emefiele, the governor of the CBN, is the target of what looks like a well coordinated, major onslaught, against the headship of the CBN, and I think that the optics are very bad for this government. The optics are very bad for President Muhammadu Buhari, because if you look at, for example, what the judge said, you can't bring this kind of trumped up charges in the manner that you are, that's to the DSS, in trying to arrest and detain the governor of the CBN without the presidential approval. True. Who does that?
True.
I mean, if the sort of economic crimes that you are leveling against the CBN is true, I mean, will you just take that, into your own hands just like that? The president will not be briefed at a time that the president has just endorsed, all the changes, all the new policies that the CBN is bringing on board. And you can see that it has politics all written around it. It's strange, but that we can get to this extent shows that there's a level of desperation within certain political class who might not be comfortable with what the CBN is trying to achieve. First, by the Naira, the redesigning of the Naira, and of course the limits on how much you can you can take. If you look, for example, at what the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Gbajabiamila did, in summoning the CBN governor who couldn't make it and send one of the deputy, governors to go and explain what is happening. We saw the Speaker of the House of Representatives going to see the president like as a matter of, emergency. The same Speaker who has not gone to see the president about the lingering fuel crisis that is affecting you and I, that is affecting every Nigerian this Christmas. But then because people say that they will not be able to withdraw cash up to a certain level, let me go and see the president. Is it not rather strange and funny that will be the priority? And then we are now arguing on the behalf of some far-reaching areas, who will be able to collect money or not. This is a joke on this administration. And I think that the body language or the express, position of the president will be essential, will be crucial at this point, so that this Makeba dance will have to stop. At a time like this is not when you now be going about say we need to, because what it means is that when do we now think that the CBN governor will return to Nigeria? How will he be sure that once he lands at the international airport, it won't be picked up by the DSS, who is still insisting that they were right, even though the court has said no, this is not the way to go about it. So I think that we shouldn't run this country as if there is no leader, as if there is nobody who can put people, in order. It's sad. It is not good for the country, and I think that this joke will just have to stop. Still on politics, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike says he will start campaigning for his preferred presidential candidate in January 2023. Governor Wike is at the center of a crisis in the People's Democratic Party over calls for the party's national chairman, Iyokia Ayu, to step down. Wike and four other governors in the party have also exempted themselves from presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar's campaign. Wike says he will mobilize people from state to state for his chosen candidate from January.
January next year, I will campaign to my people whom they will vote for. I will campaign to my people whom they will vote for. So all of you who have been in suspense, who have been saying all kinds of things, abusing me, wait. January has come. January has come. Not only will I tell them where they will vote, I will move from state to state and why they should vote for the people I think they should vote for. Nothing will happen. So all of you appearing on television, abusing me, don't waste your saliva again. January is a come. January is a come. So don't waste your saliva. Don't be going on whatever you call your platform. All those of you who are telling Nigerians you used to have 40 shoes, you have to have 50 wristwatches. Time has come to convert those shoes and wristwatches to vote.
Well, Iran, let's take this very quickly. Governor Nyesom Wike takes himself very seriously, doesn't it? Everybody expected that this is what will happen. By January, you have to show where you are going. And now
you could have been on the sidelines and do nothing.
I doubt, not with the type of game that he's been playing so far since the conclusion of the primaries, with the PDP. He will just have to support somebody.
Now, the PDP would have to make a very, very conscious decision if it does that, especially if it's not for
the PDP candidate.
Yes. The question is, would they be accusing him, and would they bring up charges of anti-party activities against him? Now, this is PDP on that verge. Where do they have the strength to do that, and are they planning for the fallout if they decide to do that? That's what I'm waiting to see.
Because any fight against Wike will be like a fight against four other governors. 5 governors at a time that you are squaring up against the ruling party.
I'm sure the PDP will be pulling their hairs out right now, because Wike is also, what he's just done is tell them that the perfect storm is coming. You will need to make a decision what to do, whether you probably run to a shelter or decide to face the storm head on.
If his candidate is not Atiku Abubakar, do you have a guess as to who that might be?
I don't know.
Peter Obi?
I don't.
Or Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
I don't
or
know.
Moli Yele Sowore?
It's a complete guessing game, I must say.
Absolutely.
Now, the Central Criminal Court in London has again denied a former deputy president of the Nigerian Senate, Ike Ekweremadu, bail, insisting that he is a possible flight risk. Mr. Ekwerimadu's lawyer in the bail application argued that the Nigerian High Commissioner to the United Kingdom and Nigeria's Attorney General had written to the court saying that the former deputy Senate president is not a flight risk. His lawyers also told the court that they would produce him should he pose a flight risk, and that the Nigeria High Commission in the UK had equally given the option of tagging Mr. Ekweremadu electronically to monitor his movements.
I mean, it's a pity, isn't it? I mean,
really sad.
I'm not sure what Senator Ekweremadu needs now, other than people's sympathy. I think
really
that he must be going through a lot. And my worry really is not so much about his rights that appear to, being trampled upon, but I'm worried about the daughter, for whom he has gone through all this, and we don't know if she is going to be able to get a donor, a fresh donor, or even the condition, of her health as at this point. He's not there to look after her. He can return home, and he's got a huge battle, on his hands.
Some have called this scapegoating. Some have said they want to make an example of this man, that because of his influence and because of the power he wields here in Nigeria, that he's become almost a poster boy to make a statement to other politicians here in Nigeria. It's unfortunate that, like you said, his daughter is caught smack in the middle of all that is happening.
Absolutely.
You could actually worry for her mental state right now. Not even her physical state, which was
what led to the whole looking for a donor and everything. Yeah.
The mental state she is in right now. I worry for her at the moment, because God forbid, we hope the worst doesn't happen before they realize that they are pushing this a little bit too far.